What doesn't prepare anyone for when you go and be a senior coach in the AFL? What's the number one thing that you say it just doesn't prepare you at all?
It's probably the fact that every person in the footy club looks up to you and is looking for you for guidance. And going from Scotty to myself, Scotty liked things a certain way. I like things a certain way. And the transition, I was very mindful of that. I didn't want to change the world because I didn't have the job. I was just the interim coach. So we just had to work through a few things. We obviously changed a little bit. But people are always looking for guidance. They always want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And that's the best thing about North Melbourne Footy Club. Every person here wants to be on the same page and wants to do the best thing by the footy club. So looking for guidance and having those conversations all day, every day was probably the biggest shock to the system for me. I loved it. I loved having the conversations, but you just can't prepare for that stuff. And the decisions you've got to make every 5 minutes, every half an hour are critical to the running of the footy club.
And then, yeah, like how do you, from a mindset point of view, you're actually going through, did you sense you were actually going through a borderline audition, or were you actually just going, I hate to be cliched, but I've actually just got to go 1 week at a time?
Yeah, I didn't really start thinking about the job until the process started, and that was 6 or 7 weeks in, and my total focus was on the players and our coaches, to be completely honest, and I really wanted to make sure that we could get the best out of this situation, and I didn't even think about the job. Really, I just thought about doing the best job I could do. And that was day in, day out, Corey, to be honest. And I didn't really start thinking about it until a bit later on in the piece. And but the one thing that everyone has spoken to me about, and Horst and Johnny and my old man and my uncle and these guys, is just be myself. And I've tried to stick with that mantra the whole way through. I think that's what will either make me or break me. And if I can stay true to myself and fail, well, then so be it. I can't do anything about that. But I'll go to bed at night knowing that I'm sticking to who I am and what I do and how I want to do it. And I'll sleep comfortably.
Yeah. And look, from the outside, it seems like you've made a real concerted effort to look into what makes up the North Melbourne Footy Club, like to really, find out about the history. Have you really sought counsel off a lot of people at North Melbourne and just find out, hey, what really makes this club tick? I know that you would have when you first come in as an assistant, but it seems like you've really tapped into the vein what makes North Melbourne tick, which is about the people and around the joint. Like, is that a fair enough assumption to say that's what you went and did?
Yeah, there's probably a combination of two things, Corey. It was getting to know the history and reading the North story was a big part of my initiation, I suppose, into the footy club. But I know this sounds really strange, but because this is such a family club and a people club, I felt as though that suited me. That's what I am. So it was a really good mix for me, and understanding people and understanding what makes them tick, as well as our footy club, and even understanding, I know it's a bit of a point of controversy at the moment, understanding the rivalry with Essendon and where that's come from, and understanding how passionate our people are about that. And obviously I come from a place at Collingwood where everyone was our rival. So, but to understand the Essendon rivalry and that played a big part, reading that book and understanding the trials and tribulations of our footy club, and the fact that we were so successful before we got inducted into the VFL at that stage. We'd won 5 VFA flags and had a couple of years where we were, I don't think we lost a game. So before we got introduced to the VFL. And I think just understanding that and being a footy head, and that gave me a good grounding into how I should go about it.
And who, yeah, like, did you end up seeking counsel of someone like even Dennis Pagan, and like who were some of the names? I know there's going to be a lot of North fans out there that are reading this, probably salivating at the thought of who you actually spoke to. But who were the? Did you end up speaking to people like Dennis, and was there anyone else that you spoke to?
I spoke to Dennis once early days when I was interim coach. I think, and probably the biggest influence over this and over me in this period's been Glenn Archer, and the passion that he has for this footy club, and the conversations we had over a few months leading up to me actually gaining the full-time coaching role. I'll tell you what, we did a few laps of the Arden Precinct, Corey. I couldn't tell you how many we did, but it was. I
thought Archer's days of doing laps were well and truly done. I'm sure he would have reminded you of that.
Let's just say they were very slow.
Yeah.
But look, he is an absolute North Melbourne person through and through, as we all know, and he's very passionate about the footy club and what needs to be done to get us back to where we want to be, and how we want to be perceived. And I really appreciated his insight into what it takes and how he feels about the footy club, and he was by far the greatest influence on me in that space.
And I think, look, aside from tapping into that history of the North Melbourne Football Club and having a greater understanding of it, I think the thing that I know it's refreshing as me I'm a fan, to hear the talk of saying, well, we're not only there to win a premiership, we want to win multiple premierships. You know what I mean? Like, you may as well say it and put it out there so everyone knows, hey, that's exactly what we want to do. So I think that's been incredibly refreshing to hear it from a fan's point of view, that that's the way we're talking.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in creating that sense too, Corey. I think we need not only our people and our fans to understand that, but our players too. And our guys have got all the talent in the world. They're a fantastic group of players, and the way they've bonded together and really started to work as a team and understand what it takes to be successful has been fantastic. And I think we're only scratching the surface of what we can achieve. And we do want to win flags, and we do want to be a successful club again. And I'll make no secret of that. And, that's what I'm striving for, and I want to achieve that here, and as soon as we can.
And I tell you what, you talk about attention to detail and only like little things matter. I know there's a couple of players, past North Melbourne players out there at the moment that are incredibly chuffed that over the last few weeks, they'd had some phone calls by some of the younger players on the list. And I think it was, you don't have to go into too much detail, but I'm only saying from the past players, sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect with the past players and the current day players. But I'll tell you what, the players that actually got those phone calls, I can tell you for a fact, I could tell by the tone in their voice, they were just pumped that they'd actually got a phone call from one of the current day players.
Yeah, one of the things that I've learned over my footy journey is that the fabric of the footy club are the players and the past players, and they've created the history, they've built the club to what it is, and that they are a massive part of where we should be going as well, and they should play a part in that. And it's just been a real shame that we haven't been able to have everyone down to the club because of this COVID breakout. But we were really mindful of that heading into that period. And I know myself and Brady have been really big on getting our past players involved. And we came up with a little exercise just to make sure that we kept our past players engaged in our footy club. We'd love to get to more, and we'll make sure that we do that, and we keep our past players engaged. And speaking of Steve-O, he's really keen on making sure that happens as well. So we're going to work really closely together to get that up and going again once we can once we can get everyone into the footy club, whenever that might be. But if we can't, we'll do the best thing we possibly can. And a couple of phone calls here and there, it might only seem little to the boys, but I know it makes a massive difference to past players from our footy club. And I was really proud of the way the guys went about it, and just tapping in a bit of their mentality in their playing careers and what made them successful.